Okay, day 2 of the 5-day itty bitty art challenge. And I have to say that I just absolutely love looking at the artwork coming in. You guys are doing so good. It's phenomenal. So my heart, I'm all a flutter. I'm gonna keep it short. Today's mantra: draw what you see, not what you know. And this I heard 40 years ago, and who knows how many decades before that this phrase has been going around. But it's a classic art mantra that reminds you that your job is to see. And it's kind of tricky to see. So here's the thing: we don't usually spend a lot. A regular person will just, let's draw a person. So they'll go, "Oh, I know how to draw a person. Draw, draw me." Oh yeah, okay. Let's see, Irene. Irene, can you see this? Irene, let's draw Irene. Irene, let's see. I know what Irene. I know what Irene looks like. Irene has a head. She's got a round head. And Irene has 2 eyes. They kind of go like that. Yeah, and eyebrows. And she has a nose. And she has lips. And it's like, maybe if I get the hair right. She's got, let me look again. Oh, yeah. She's got hair. Yeah, 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 yeah. And yeah. And then you're like, well, it kind of looks like Irene. But the thing is, this is what we know. We know that people have 2 eyes. We know that they have a nose. We know, and they have a mouth. And so we start drawing what we know, but we're not drawing what we see. These are kind of like caricatures that we've learned along the way. Whenever we look at books or when we started drawing as kids, this is what we saw. So spend more time looking at the subject and draw what you see. So for example, if I was going to draw my hand, I know that a hand has 5 fingers and a thumb, but that's not really what it looks like. Why did I pick hand? The hardest thing in the world to draw. It really is. People are the hardest, and hands are even harder. So if you can go to live drawing classes and practice, it's highly recommended. So let's see, I'm gonna, spend more time looking here. Oh, the hand. Why did I pick the hand? I haven't drawn a hand in 30 years. Probably 40 years I haven't drawn a hand. Why did I pick the hand? Well, it's all about seeing. Well, yeah, I do have long fingers, but it's not quite that long. The point is that we have to really see. Look at what we're, drawing. And that's how we're going to get better. So I don't, a lot of people talk about proportions. They teach drawing, like for animation, for example, they teach you about like, here's your head and a third of the way. I don't do that. That's a formula. You can just look at your subject. And if you're looking really well, you'll be able to draw. And when you know how to look, you can draw anything. So that's what I recommend. Any questions? Now, we did have a question. I'd asked for people to send questions, and it's a good one. And let me tell you, nobody knows anxiety. Well, maybe people know anxiety, but I have had terrible anxiety issues most of my adult life. And it's been a challenge to get over them, that's for sure. So I do have some tips. How do I overcome the fear of getting started? Ask somebody in the Facebook group. So there's a few things. I think I wrote it down. Probably better for me just to read it. So the first thing is, gotta give yourself permission to paint the worst drawing, or do the worst drawing or the worst painting possible. That's how you start. Just give yourself permission to do terrible, terrible drawings. Treat it like a child where you're just gonna have fun. So give yourself the permission. Use cheap paper so that it doesn't make you stiff. When we beginners have a tendency to think that you need to go out and you're going to buy a beautiful book and stuff like that. And then you're going to feel, oh my goodness, I don't want to ruin this book. Is my drawing worthy? And that's going to make you stiffen up and get nervous and tighten up. And then when we're tight and nervous, we don't create as well because our energy is gone into fleeing or freezing or fighting. And that's not the greatest energy for creating. The best energy for creating is to stay loose and playful and to just be there and enjoy the moment. So that's why a little painting practice can make a great little meditation practice also. Because you while you're painting can, you'll things will pop into your head like, this is terrible, or should I do that? No, it'll be wrong. So no, let me try to do it. And you can start seeing the thoughts that pop into your head. So use cheap paper, give yourself permission to paint the worst things possible, and then reframe the fear. Interestingly enough, fear and excitement lie on the same spectrum. So it kind of makes us, activates our nervous system in the same way. So when you're thinking and feeling the fear, actually go, but I am a little bit excited. This is a little bit fun. So try to nudge yourself towards that way of thinking and think, I do want to do it. And I am a little bit nervous, but it actually is a little bit exciting. So ride that wave and go, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. And I draw better in Newfoundland. Absolutely. Well, the fourth one is come to Newfoundland, draw in Newfoundland. It's way better. That's a given. And what else did I say? Keep it playful, like a child. Think about the way children start playing. They just go right to it. They start, sticking things together. It's about curiosity and playfulness. Don't worry about the outcome. It's about being there in the moment, going, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? Have fun with it. And then the other one is to just keep showing up. The way to make a habit stick is to make it so easy that you can't say no. So that's what this challenge is all about. 2 little exercises, a 1-minute warm up and a 2 to 5 minute drawing. Just try to do that every day if you can. Just try to. This is a trick from Seinfeld. And Seinfeld knew that if he wanted to be a good writer, stand up his writing, that he needed to write a lot and he needed the motivation to do it. So he decided that he was going to write every day for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. And if he couldn't do that, he couldn't call himself a writer. So make the entryway small. Say you're going to show up every day and draw for 5 minutes. And then at the end, you take your calendar and you put a big X on it. One day, 5 minutes. The next day, you do 5 minutes. Yeah, another X. The third day. And you just keep putting X's across. And there's something about tracking your progress and making all these rows of X's that make us feel really good. And then we keep going and the habit starts to stick. So he's supposedly still doing that today. So put a big X on your calendar when you've done your drawing. And keep it small, show up every day, and just try to be 1% better. That's it. And over time, that's how we get better. The road to mastery is made with mini steps and quantity. And that's it. And another way to look at it, what did they say? The person who is successful is just the one who gave up last. So just keep going. Outdo everybody. Keep going to the end. There's another story that I heard when I started. I have my second degree black belt. I got my black belt before I started painting. I don't know, but painting was my lifelong dream. Getting my black belt in Taekwondo wasn't, but it was very fun and I learned a lot about it. And the thing about a black belt class is, or a Taekwondo class or a martial art class, is the beginners do exactly the same thing as the black belts do. They're just expected to do it at the black belt level. And so when you're in a class together, everybody's doing the same punches, right? Everybody's doing the same kick. When you start, you're like, and then, then you get it better and you work on the accuracy. And over time, you develop your speed, your accuracy, your strength, all the things that matter in a punch or a kick. And sometimes when I'm painting, I do the same thing. I'm like, I know I just want one stroke. I want to simplify. I know I need a highlight right there. It's my last stroke and I want it to be good. Do I have a brush around here? I have a brush, or here's a palette knife. Palette knife. A painting knife. Painting knives are flexible. Palette knives aren't. So you want a painting knife. And I'm kind of like a Taekwondo person. I'm like, got my paint on there. And I'm like, got one stroke. Let's go. And you want to be nice and loose, like you aren't, when you're a boxer, you're loose, dancing like a butterfly. And then like, and you're like, nailed it. Sometimes I don't nail it. We don't get every shot we take. We just aim to get most of them, and that's it. Because especially when it's oil paint, I can scrape it right off and do it again. So that's it. So just get started. Treat it. Get the worst paper, but just even recycling paper. Just get started. Give yourself permission to paint the worst thing. Make positive effort for the good, and that's it. Any other questions out there? Draw what you see, not what you know, just means look. And the more we look, the better we were going to get. It's the same thing with like martial arts. When we start out, we can't really see. That's why I think we kind of go in steps when we're starting out, especially with painting, because it's a little bit more complicated. It's hard to see everything, values and colors. It's too much for a beginner. So we just start off with the simple things. We're just going to start with shapes and maybe some lines and some values, and that's it. But the minute you start seeing these things, you'll start walking. You'll be like, look at those shapes. I've never noticed. Look at this shape of that tree. And then we'll start looking, look at the shade of that. That shadow is so dark compared to the lightness, the light side. And we're going to start seeing things. And the more we practice, the more we're going to see things. And then it gets very exciting. And that's what a master basically is. A master just keeps getting better and better till, for example, at the beginning, I couldn't tell a good punch from a bad punch. But, when you become a black belt, you can see, the beginners, they all do the same thing. And you can start to correct things just gently and slowly. And that's it. Just look. And the same thing about colors. You can find all kinds of formulas online for colors. And they work, like one that was really intriguing to me was you can mix a black with a yellow and end up with an olive green. And that was kind of fun. But more probably what's better is just look at that color. And you're like, look at that. What kind of blue is that? And you can squint a little bit. You go, the first thought that, I see purple. And then go for it. There's probably a little bit of purple in there. There's a little bit of purple in the blue, and you can add it. You can mix into the color, add it on top, like impressionist side by side, and that's it. So just see, just look. And when you learn to see, you can paint anything. So that's why it's better than some tricks. So, I did want to talk about one thing. Another thing that beginners do. This is going back to my drawing class in New York, and we were drawing people, and we were drawing live models, and there was a model who was bent right over, right like that. She was like right like that. So see how flat my back is? Well, wouldn't you know it? We're all drawing the model, and we drew her like that. Look at that angle. And it wasn't until the teacher said, it's something, we just can't believe that the angle is actually like that. She was bent right like that. 2 legs and her arms were like that. But every one of us had drawn her like that. So once again, um, really look. And when your things are off, check the angle. You know, remember from math, you can just check the angle. If there's a window behind and there's somebody in front of it, you can go, oh, no, no, she's actually like this. So little checks like that when we're drawing. So you can check the angle and check the distances. So for example, you know, oh, yeah, that's the same. So we're always checking. So we didn't draw. Some people, you know, draw on a grid. They divide their page up into tic-tac-toe to help them see. But I don't think you need to do that for landscapes. You can, I think it's a good exercise to pick your focal point. Put your focal point where the lines meet. That's a very pleasing way to start a composition, but you don't have to draw the grids. Much more fun to just wing it. Because once again, like if you're going to be looking here to there and you stop and then there, see how there's a break? You don't want that. If you're drawing, you want line to go right across. That's always more interesting than to break things up because the energy is there, right? Bring your body into it and bring the energy in. That's, you know, the most, that's really appealing. So yesterday, just another trick, reminder from yesterday, no furry lines. We want one beautiful, strong line. We don't want furry lines. When we do that, we're basically saying, they're not really confident, so I'll draw 100 lines on top of one another. Maybe one of them will be right. So much, much better to get used to one strong line across the page. So that's it. Any questions? If anybody has any questions, you can just pop them in there. I don't think there's any questions anymore. So that's going to be it.